What's going on, everybody? It's Jeremy here from Weekly Narrative. We're in downtown Sacramento at a Mike Pence meeting. There's a lot of protesters that just showed up, so we're going to go downtown, see if we can talk to some of them, figure out what's going on. Let's go.
Well, now you know how it feels like. I know.
The problem with the left is they don't want to have a conversation. The
problem with the right is they don't want to have a conversation.
They talk about being open-minded.
The problem with the right is even when you do have a conversation with them, they ignore all the information.
All right, so what's your name?
Fago.
Fago?
Yep.
All right, nice to meet you, man. So what's going on here?
Well, this is our community responding to finding out that Pence was going to be coming to our city to raise money for more Republicans to get elected, which both Republicans and Democrats need to be out of office, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Basically, we found out that he's coming, and due to his homophobic and otherwise fascist ideologies, we are not comfortable with him being president in our city.
This is their most recent upload. Prime Minister CW is at Ben Shapiro UC Berkeley.
Okay.
You looked us up pretty quick. Good job, man. Hey, give it a like. All right. So, okay, so you said Trump's a fascist, and what else?
Well, specifically Pence is a homophobe who believes that electroshock therapy is going to stop people from being gay. He's even said that if his own children were to become gay, that he would put them through electroshock therapy.
Wow. Okay.
It's just BS. It doesn't do anything other than hurt people. That's why it's actually illegal to use electroshock therapy other than a few things. So that's not a message we want being brought to our city. This is a diverse community, and we prefer to keep our diversity. We prefer to keep it a place where everybody can come and live in peace without fear of prejudice, hate, people targeting them for their differences.
Is he targeting people? Is that why he came here?
When he says stuff like gay people should be put to electroshock therapy, that is targeting a part of our community. That is hateful. That hurts people.
Okay.
People forget that their words also can hurt. So when you're telling people that their type of person should be punished in some form, that hurts everybody of that community that hears those words.
Do you think this is productive, though? Do you think it'd be more productive to maybe have a discussion and try to hash out the details and see if we can convince people, or do you think chanting really works?
Historically, yes. Look at Dr. Martin Luther King. He staged sit-ins. He was assaulted during sit-ins. He was washed down with power hoses for marching in the streets. And without him being willing to take those marches and take that, we would never have the social justice that we have today, which we're still lacking. We still have a long ways to go to reach the true unity for all people that we deserve.
My name is Kathy, and I read something really scary today in Daily Talk. Trump and Pence and all of their likes are going to turn this into an extraction economy where they're going to take from us. And I don't want that. I want us all to have opportunities to be successful. All of us. Don't let them take that or extract that from us.
We're going to become an extraction economy. I don't even know what that means. I got to Google that one later. Hey guys, can I ask you a question? Mind if I ask you a question? What's the brown beret? Oh, I'm just wondering what you guys are. You don't have to make a statement or anything.
So when we let people like Pence who are trying to push things the opposite direction, just like Trump's trying to do, that's a threat to the people that are not fitting into their mold.
What do you mean opposite direction?
Well, when he goes and tells people that kneeling as a form of protest is an illegitimate form of protest, that's going backwards. Vets were just at our city council kneeling for the Pledge of Allegiance in solidarity with Kaepernick.
Well, I think he was just talking about kneeling while you're in the NFL. I mean, he's probably okay with kneeling anywhere else.
No, he said he's trying to change the narrative. The kneeling is about calling out the racial injustices and police brutality. It has nothing to do with patriotism or anything like that. It's an expression of free speech. So when he makes a comment decrying people exercising their First Amendment rights, he is going backwards rather than forwards.
So what are they protesting exactly, for example, when they say, you know, take a knee during a football game?
They're protesting the police killing people disproportionately of color. They're protesting systemic prejudice and racism that most people don't even see because they don't realize it. Like, even almost everybody's been indoctrinated with some level of racism and some level of prejudice. And that's what they're partially protesting, because until we break that indoctrination and realize that it's there, then we're going to continue to fall for this hate that person for their difference, rather than going, hey, we should try not to hate people for their difference.
I agree, definitely. Yeah, we shouldn't hate anybody. But do we really know that those statistical discrepancies are because of racism? I mean, couldn't there be something else going on there?
There's a lot of racism associated with it, especially when you look at the way certain laws are written, such as redlining, which was something that happened here in Sacramento, where they would intentionally only rent to certain races in certain neighborhoods. So, and that's still happening. They also, the banking system is known for predatory lending, specifically towards people of color disproportionately. You know, so there's all these different levels of systemic racism.
In honor of all the NFL players right now who are using their wealth and privilege to speak out, we want to take a quick knee. If you can't take a knee for medical reasons, that's all right. You still with us. We don't take 30 minutes, 30 seconds. We don't take 30 seconds. And we're going to have a knee, and we want to say that Antifa please care.
So we're taking a knee right now, 30 seconds, for all those poor football players who have to earn millions of dollars every week for throwing a football around, and they get reprimanded for sharing their political views at the workplace. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what's going on. So look at these fascist cops letting this event go on freely without disrupting them at all. It's a perfect example of fascism. How could they let this happen? There's a lot of ways that systemic racism can go the other way too. I mean, if you think it's going to be 100% equal, is that the goal? 100% equality across the board?
Yeah, actually.
So should we?
For one, we've got to get people to realize that the system caters to certain ethnic groups more than it does other groups. So we need to make sure that that is deconstructed into something that benefits everybody in a positive way. Have all these fascists and neo-Nazis marching, that's a threat to everyone. You well, man? Because that's normalizing, it's normalizing hate, it's normalizing prejudice.
So for example, I mean, there's a large statistical discrepancy in the NFL where 70% of players are black. Should we be trying to correct that? I mean, is that statistical racism against white people?
I wouldn't say that.
So why is that? Well, how is that a different situation if you look at statistics of shootings and say that that's racism, but this isn't?
Well, for one, shooting somebody is a lot different than hiring somebody. When you go to hire people, you hire them based on their qualifications. If more people of one type are qualifying better because they're performing better, that's what happens.
So you're saying there's racial differences inherently between races?
No.
So how else would you describe that discrepancy?
The fact that maybe that's more people of that ethnic group are trying harder for that, or that, you know, it's football.
Oh, what about the...
There's a lot of racism in football, though.
I mean, well, black people are responsible for the vast majority of murders as well. Do you think...
That's not true. According to FBI crime statistics for 2015, 70% of all violent crimes were committed by white people. About 60% of murders, like 80% of rape. So,
well, if you look at like New York, for example.
If you want to get down to the actual crime statistics, white people commit more crimes per capita. They only make up 60% of the population. The black community only makes up 12.5.
Right.
Now, well, crime statistics on that, they're about proportionate. People of color are about proportionate.
Well, if you look at New York, for example,
over 30% of the prison population for the same crimes.
Right, but how would you explain, you know, 13% of the population being responsible for roughly 50% of the murders in New York, for example?
I don't think that's accurate, honestly.
If you're looking for a wholesome family event to bring your 6-year-old kids to, We're gonna do a street protest where they're talking about genocide. Hey, I'm gonna ask this guy for an interview. Make sure, let this guy know that I'm all right, because I'm gonna ask him for an interview.
Yep.
This guy right here.
Don't talk to him.
You guys mind if I ask you some questions? Weekly Narrative? Weekly Narrative?
Was that?
All right,
What do you guys
don't talk to him.
We're all right YouTubers. Do you guys mind if I ask you about your sign?
I didn't come with you guys. I'm with him over here.
Excuse me?
I'm just here to be here.
Sir?
You're going this way. So there's buddy system
I'm just
going
curious about your sign.
west, and there's a buddy system going east.
Okay, good talk.
And he thinks he can come into Sacramento and not face any resistance. He thinks he can get people from Roseville to drive down here to try to take our streets. These are our streets. This is our community. We're the most
Hey, I live in Roseville.
in the United States.
What's wrong with Roseville?
And don't entertain.
Good?
We're not over on your side.
Side? What side?
We're leaving. That's the news.
Oh, no, I'm just talking. Just want to see what's going on. I was letting you guys talk, so
We came to
I was letting you guys do your thing, and I'm just seeing if we can figure out what's going on afterwards.
have
And
a nice night.
thanks, you too.
Have a nice night.
Thanks. All right, so we had a slam poetry in the middle of the night here in the street, which was fun, but nobody wants to actually talk about their ideas. They want to hold their signs, and they want to have their canned chants, but nobody's willing to have an actual discussion, which it's not really anything new. It's kind of what we expected. Are we going to be back tomorrow? What time tomorrow? 4:30? Okay. Whoa, Nazi. So, all right, we just got called Nazis. And we didn't even get to ask any questions. So we had one guy in sunglasses. Apparently it's too bright out here for him. He's going around yelling, telling everyone we're outright. And that quickly escalated into Nazis. So we went from asking if anyone wants to have a discussion to us being Nazis. All of a sudden, having a discussion is Nazi behavior, I guess, but that's okay. We got a couple interviews in, but then everyone kind of started calling us alt-right. Started out calling us alt-right, and then without us even saying anything to anybody, aside from, does anybody want to have a discussion, we started getting called Nazis and Nazi press and whatnot. And at that point, everyone was running around telling everyone not to talk to us. So I think the crowd is a little too small. Everyone, the word kind of spread around quickly that we're Nazis. So we're gonna come back tomorrow. It's the day after Columbus Day or whatever. There's supposed to be a big protest down here tomorrow, so we're gonna come back, see if we can get some more footage down there tomorrow, and make a sweet video out of it. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.